Today, oh, that's John Schlitt. I'm on your camera. I forgot to go to my camera. So there's John Schlitt. That's our guest for today. I'm Randy Robinson, and this is Life Today Live. That means I'm actually here right now. If you're watching this live, obviously, you watch the replay. You have to come back between, at noon Central Time. That's Texas time, Chicago time, right here in the middle of the United States. How are you guys doing out there today? It's a little crazy, I know, but here's the good news. We're here. Because of technology, I'm not surrounded by a bunch of people that are going to give me anything that's going to send me to the hospital. So I can do this all day long, all week long. So come back here every day for Life Today and share this and jump in the conversation, because I do have guests lined up and they're nice and safe at home. And so this is rolling. This is a thing. Today's guest is John Schlitt, and you might know the name if you've been around for any period of time and listened to music. Here's a picture of his new album, and we'll see if I get knocked off the feeds. When I play music, copyright jumps up and bites me a lot. Let's try it.
Sometimes I feel like I'm losing control.
All right, that's all I'm going to play because I don't want to get shut down by the automated bots out there that shut down YouTube and Facebook. And seriously, it's happened before. John Schlitt, how are you doing out there, man?
Randy, I'm doing great, buddy. How about you?
I'm hanging in there, until somebody tells me differently. I'm going to just go with I'm good.
Yeah, and you're offering a service. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you were interested in the Go project and whatever that we might be able to share today. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, well, see, I remember I grew up on Petra. So when I think John Schlitt, I think Petra, and I think a little rock and roll. But you got a lot of other projects out of there. I know I recently saw you online with Jay Sekulow. Tell me about some of the music things that. Well, first of all, give people a little bit of background so they can place you if they're going, okay, I know that voice, I know that guy, because you've been in with a lot of different projects.
Well, I've been in the music business for a long time, actually. You can tell from my age, and. I started secular music in a band called Head East, and we had a record out called Flash the Pancake and had a classic called Never Been Any Reason. I went with that band until 1980, and I got so involved with drugs and alcohol that they actually fired me. Went on a binge for about, listen, think about that. A rock band firing you because you're too much into drugs and alcohol. That was extreme. Went on a bench for 6 months, became a Christian. Went and gave up music for 5 years, thought that'd be forever. And all of a sudden, Bob Hartman from Petra called. And for the next 20 years, I was with Petra, which was a fantastic time. And off and on, I've been with Petra ever since, which is another 15 years. So, but meanwhile, doing my solo career and then getting involved with Jay Sekulow and having a band with him. And then joined up with Billy Smiley, and we did something called the Union of Sinners and Saints. So God has allowed me to use my voice in many different ways and still doing it. And I'm very, very content, but very excited about being able to do it.
All right, Billy Smiley was with Whiteheart, am I right on that?
Yeah. So we're sort of a joining of together of sounds of Whiteheart and sounds of Petra. And
wow.
it's worked out really well. It's a lot of fun.
All right, so before we get to the new music, because you do have new music, and I know I've already got some comments here, people saying that you're their favorite singer of all time. They love John Schlitt. So you got some love going on online right now. But you said something. You said you got kicked out of a band in 1980, I guess, and for for drugs. And people, for young people, may not realize that how crazy that being kicked out of a rock and roll band for drugs was at that time. If you watch some old movies, because drugs, they were part of the culture. I mean, it was seriously a part of the culture.
You had to be cool. If you're going to be cool, you had to do cocaine and you had to drink, because back then water wasn't cool. It was beer was the liquid of the backstage for me, at least in the rock and roll in my system. And started out just wanting to play good music. And here's the secret. Even a dream that comes true can get boring after every day. And I started looking for new and exciting, new adventures. And I knew God. I mean, I believed in God, but I didn't know Jesus Christ. So that left me totally free. And totally at the enemy's mercy. And I think by 1980, he thought he had me and figured I was already checked me off the list. But he keeps forgetting that Christ has bigger plans and loves you. And God had a plan for me, praise God. And I overcame only through the blood of Christ.
Okay, so that's the part I want to talk about. It's funny, you said totally free, and I know what you meant. It's like being untethered, unanchored, because you're free in a sense, but you're also trapped at the same time. So here's my question, because you said you got saved and then you joined a Christian band. Well, that's not an overnight thing. What happened there? How did that happen?
Well, when I got fired for the band, I went on a binge, like I said before, about 6 months. I was either drunk or coked up 24 hours a day. And somebody said, well, you can't do that or you die. Well, if you've been doing it for 3 or 4 years, actually about 2 or 3 years, your body gets used to it, and it's actually unnatural if you're not. Mm-hmm. So I went on that, and in August 29th of 1980, I woke up in the middle of the day on my couch in my living room, and a little voice goes, you're worth more dead than alive. And I said, yeah, that makes sense. I sat in my chair, decided suicide was the best answer for me because I had a beautiful wife, 2 healthy kids, and I figured they'd be better off without me. Sat in the couch and sat in the chair, decided I wasn't going to use a gun because I didn't want my kids to see a mess. As I was sitting trying to figure out what kind of pills would be the easiest and quickest to do it, my wife taps me on the shoulder and says, John, you promised you'd come and talk to my pastor today. And I said, when? She goes, last night when you were really drunk. And putting the story back a little bit, that same 6-month period I was on a binge, she became a Christian. There is no such thing as coincidence. And she would try to tell me about Jesus, and I'd say, get out of my face, I'm too cool for God. I'll be a Christian when I'm too old to have any fun. The typical stereotype of what the world tries to present as Christianity, boredom, bondage, the whole thing. I believed that. But I went with the attitude of I was going to show her I tried, had no idea that anything was going to change. But I walked into the pastor's house and walked out with an attitude. I walked in with an attitude and walked out with the Holy Spirit. Changed my life. Changed my life. And it could be a lot more complicated than that, but really the whole idea was God had a plan. Through my wife, the doors opened. Through her prayers in the church that I actually became part of, that had prayed for me for 6 months. And for the next 5 years, got into the word heavy duty. Honestly, never thought I'd be singing again. And started trying to figure out what my American dream as a Christian was going to be.
That's an amazing story. I can imagine that when you got the call from Petra, you knew who they were.
I was. Actually, someone had handed me a Petra record. And I had stopped listening to music altogether because I love Amy, I love Sandy Patty. They're sweethearts. I know them well. But their music back then did nothing for me, and that was the only kind of music that Christian I knew of the Christian music. Right. So I just stopped listening to music altogether. And somebody handed me a Petra record. Says, this band sounds just like your old band, but Christian. I said, yeah, right. But I listened to it. I said, oh my gosh, that's what I should have been doing all this time. But figuring out what God's plan is, you just figured you've blown it. And never, it's too late for you. So seriously, I figured, okay, well, God's got a new plan for me. I'll be an engineer. That's what I graduated from University of Illinois as. And I'll be content. I'm a Christian. God's got a plan. I'll take care of my family like I was told by the Lord. And that was it. And when Bob called, I was in shock. I mean, again, remember, I'm a big Petra fan now. I thought somebody was making a joke. I was not happy about it because I thought somebody was calling me and saying, this is Bob Hartman, ha, ha, ha. And finally I realized it was, and make a long conversation short, he said, would you consider being with Petra? And I says, absolutely. And he says, well, don't you think you should pray about it? I go, Yeah, okay. But I knew. I
Yeah.
knew. My wife knew. I knew. And I guess about 6 months later, I was singing in front of 6,000 people in Brisbane, Australia, for the first time, sober in 7 years. So it was quite an experience.
Yeah, wow. We are talking to John Schlitt, singer, songwriter. This is his new project called Go. And someone already has chimed in and said, Go is the best work you've ever done. So I want to talk about that, but I want to back up because there's one question off of, what's he on Facebook? It's actually, I think, an interesting question. Someone says, what was the first track on Back to the Street that you did the vocals for? Do you remember?
Yeah, just a second. It was, oh man, oh, that's not fair. Oh, yes. I tried out for Petra. Bob had a song called Alter Ego.
Yeah.
And that was the song, is I guess the closest thing to trying out. I came down to visit Bob, and he says, let's do some recording. And that was the song he had on the tape, and I sang that for him. And I guess that would be the first song that I ever sang of Petra.
Nice. All right, so let's jump to today because you're still going strong, man. The vocals on this album are strong.
Thank you. Well, as long as God allows me to sing, as long as He allows me to have the voice I have, I'm going to use it. There's no such thing as retirement in the Word. And I think God has given me the voice and the experience I've had as far as a front man to take and present the gospel the best way I know how. And that's through an exciting music form called rock and roll, singing about the most exciting subject in the history of mankind, Jesus Christ.
All right, we're talking to John Schlitt live right now, and there are a truckload of people out there. I have a feeling that this coronavirus is doing good things for the audience here on Life Today Live. I mean, looking for that silver lining. So, but here's the thing. Right now, right in the middle of this, while you're watching, you need to share this, all right? Wherever you're at, share it. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope. Hit share right now so your friends can see this, because now we're going to get not just into the music, but we're going to talk about the message behind the music. So John, unpack whatever you want to unpack with the song, with your life, your motivation, what you want people to hear, not just the great rock and roll, and I am a rock and roll fan, so I'm going to go fanboy on you, but the words, the message.
Well, I'll tell you what, the whole theme of the record in itself it's a motivator. Go, the simple title Go, basically means God has a plan for each one of us. And instead of sitting and waiting for God to knock you on the back of the head, pray. Understand what He has in store for you. And when the doors open, walk through. Be cautious. I mean, don't think that everything that passes through your mind is God. But just pray and go forward and use the talents that God's given you, use the opportunities God's given you, and don't be afraid to see the change that God has in your life. It's exciting. Each song, like Go, the title cut, just very basic. Go. It's time to go. Don't sit around and wait for that perfect scenario sometimes. Sometimes if God is tugging on your heart, go forward. Be surprised with the amazing things that God has in store for you.
How's that played out in your life personally? Because I find most songwriters don't just go, I think I'll write a song about this, but they're speaking out of their experience, out of their life.
Well, again, like I said, I'm probably older than most rockers, and a lot of people keep saying, well, man, are you? No, I'm not, because God keeps putting on my heart a new direction. This record, for instance, done totally different. I used 3 producers this time, which sort of in my mind is sort of like 3 different packages that each producer is in charge of. I co-wrote with all 3 of them, and what was neat about it was there was no coordination between the 3, but when it was all said and done, the songs laid there and they basically structured themselves together. The set, I always see a CD as a set. And the set was beautifully put together. The momentum was there. The message just flowed together, and it was an adventurous, exciting CD that says a lot.
Yeah. All right. So quick poll for all you guys out there on chat. While John answers this next question, what is your favorite John Schlitt song? So jump in there, type your favorite John Schlitt song, and maybe we'll get a little feedback on some of the top ones. But John, pick another song on the album and give us a little taste of what it's about from a message standpoint.
Okay, very simple. One is Fighting the Fight. That's actually the slowest song on the record. And it was co-written with me and a good friend of mine that's not necessarily always a writer. In fact, he works for a ministry in Scottsdale. But he had this song, he played it for me, asked me to sing it as a favor to him. And when it was done, it was a major favor to me. I said, we've got to use this on the record. And it's basically Fighting the Fight. It basically says, hey, I'm not perfect, but God is there, and he's ready for me. I'm going to fight the fight no matter how many times I fail, because Jesus Christ is there and has a plan.
Yeah, that's one of the songs that's popping up right now on people's favorites list. You got I haven't heard this one because I haven't heard the whole album yet. Benita, I know Benita's watching right now. Make sure I get the whole album, please. You have a song called "Fake News"?
Oh yeah.
What is that about?
Well, let's face. I'm political. I agree. I admit it. I have the directions I lean towards, and as I watch, to me, fake news is a lie. It's lies. And the first verse was about the political ramifications of what's happening, but the second verse was the fact that people that you trust, evangelists, that are out there, and sometimes they're spewing stuff that really isn't of the word. And to me, that's fake news. That's fake news. It can be very destructive, and so it's covering political and it's covering religious responsibilities, and we need to basically be careful about what we're hearing and what we're believing. And as far as a Christian point of view, we need to get in the Word and absolutely understand that if it's being spouted, it doesn't mean it's true. Does it match the Word? And if we do that, then it's not fake. Mm-hmm. It's not fake news. It's absolutely good news. And in politically, it speaks for itself. I mean, every time you turn on the TV, you're hearing it one way or another.
Well, speaking of turning on the TV, what's your thoughts during this time where it's just a weird time? I mean, I don't want to tell people to not be cautious because I don't want a bunch of people to get sick, and it's a legitimate concern, but yet I don't want to scare people and make, panic is not of God either. What are you thinking during this time?
I tell you what, I have to ask forgiveness, because for a while I was just walking around with, this is all a bunch of baloney. It's just hype. It's something, they don't have the trials now, so let's figure out something else to freak us out about. And then all of a sudden, I was almost like God said, John, you need to be concerned about others. In other words, they tell you to stay in. It's not necessarily for you, but what if you go out and get infected, and all of a sudden you affect someone else? And so I'm understanding this shut-in type of mentality a little more than I did, say, even yesterday. So let's take it on face value and say, let's be careful, let's care about others, let's be careful for other people.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm about to go do some broadcast television programs with my dad, and what I'm going to talk about is, we talk about God doesn't give us the spirit of fear, and that's true, but the scripture doesn't end there. It says of power and love and a sound mind, and that love is the agape kind of love that is concerned for the well-being of others. And that sound mind, or discipline in some translations, implies several things. One, it implies good judgment, which we should have right now, but it also, if you look it up in the Greek dictionary, it says moderation, and it's just the opposite of panic. It says, you know what, if you need something, go buy it, but don't clear the shelves because other people need other things too. So we should have a level head during this time. All right, this is John Schlitt. His new album is called Go. It is out now. You need to go and get it. Hey man, if you're stuck right now, there's nothing better than getting a new rock and roll album in my book. You know what I'm saying? I want to jump back to an old song, John, because someone who's watching right now says that when she heard the song "There Is Someone," you remember that song?
I sure do. I love that song.
She says it kept her from committing suicide and it saved her
Praise
life.
God. Praise God.
What do you think when you hear stories like that?
I just say thank you, Jesus. It has nothing to do with me. It was I wrote the song because it was given to me by the Lord. I mean, I think anything that you create has been given to you by the Lord, and I am. She just made my day. I'm very, very honored to be part of that. Wow, praise God.
Well, talk about going forward. We got go. Where's John Schlitt gonna go? Where do you go from here, man? I mean, it seems like you. Some people, peak and disappear. You like peak, 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 peak. Where are you gonna go next?
Well, I think I have just started with this record, and John Delfonte is a good buddy of mine, and he's part of the J Secular band, and I let the guys in the band listen to the record before anyone else, and I always respect their point of view. And John's always very in your face. If he likes it, he likes it. If he doesn't, and he'll dissect it down. And so I was dreading him hearing it, and he called me and said, "John, I really like this record. Man, I love what they did with your voice. It's really good. Now, what are you going to do with it?" And stab me in the heart. Well, I just finished it, John. I don't know. I mean, come on.
You're going to sit back and admire it.
I was. That was my plan. And all of a sudden realized, oh, man, and now it's just started. Yeah, I'm looking for some people that can get this thing out. Airplay is probably not part of my part of this record's future because it's rock and roll, and I'm old, and it just doesn't fit in the scenario for Christian music, the industry today. But there's got to be a way to get it out there because I think it's very valuable to people like us who like this form of music. And with the internet and that, I just need these kind of people that know what they're doing to get it out there and get it in the air. Shoot, I'd like to have it on commercials. It's stomping. There's songs there, right, that could be fantastic in that. So there's a lot of possibilities that are open up, even though to me the internet sort of destroyed music as it was before. Instead of laying down and dying, what you do is you say, okay, how do you use it now? What's the scenario now? And that's sort of what I'm still learning. You can teach an old dog new tricks, but I'm also understanding that I need real good teachers that can carry me along.
Yeah, well, okay, so let's tell everybody right now, if you will go to John W. Schlitt. What's the W stand for?
William.
John William Schlitt, and there's how you spell Schlitt right there on your screen. So you can go there and get the album, but here's what we need you to do if you are a John Schlitt fan, and you probably are if you're watching right now. Share it, post it, repost it over and over. You got music videos or something like that out on YouTube yet?
Yes. Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of them, buddy.
But from the new album?
Not from the new album. No. The only thing I have on the new album is a trailer that introduced the record, and that's cool. I mean, that's sort of a cool thing. Working on that too. I think it's very important, especially to get because you have a video. It can go on YouTube,
right.
and that gets out there too.
Right. Exactly.
So, yes, my answer to you, that quick question was a long answer, and yes,
no,
I will.
That's okay. So, I mean, if people will, follow you on Facebook or wherever John's at, then when something new goes up, you'll be able to share it, and that's how it goes, viral, if I can use that word these days. Okay, this is this is the music lover in me going to jump out for a second, because you mentioned John Elefante. I know you've worked with a lot of the greats. And for people that don't know, I mean, I remember John Elefante back from the Kansas days.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you look up to? Maybe who do you really enjoy working with? And I know that question puts you in a tight spot because if you leave the wrong person out, right? But is there anybody that that you're like, man, these are my guys. They've helped me. I love their music. Something. Just give me a little insight on the John Schlitt music guy.
Well, you know what? That's funny you say that, because right now I'll mention the Jay Secular Band again. Got Mark Townsend. I've got John Lowry. I got John Alfonte. I got Chris. Oh, come on, my drummer. I mean, all the band of the J Band are amazing. I've had more fun with them, and I look up to all of them. I look up to all those guys. I look up to my son-in-law, Dan Needham, who's my producer. Like I said, my three producers, John Lowry, Mark Townsend, Dan Needham. They are amazing people. Dan and I got to work with some amazing artists I co-wrote with. I'm just very blessed. I really have a chance to be around AA artists, and I try not to take it for granted. And I've even got a couple of people in Kansas City that are young characters that I'm probably going to use in my band, the Riker twins. And they're only like 25, 26, but they're amazing musicians. And it's really exciting to be able to just be a singer and be around these kind of people that just make your product so much better.
Sure. The Jay Secular Band, by the way, is out there on YouTube. So you can go to their channel on YouTube and hear their songs. And there, I see it, John, right there on one of them. You guys do a lot of secular covers with the band.
Yes.
What's your view on doing, a Styx song or, some old secular rock and roll song?
Well, this band was created to actually be it originally was created to help Jay relax, because Jay needs relaxing. And we all love the 70s and 80s. Now, when I was with Petra, I had to really watch out. Because Petra's ministry, I didn't want to get in the way of it in any way. And back then, I mean, people were looking for any reason to call us compromisers, hell. I mean, you wouldn't believe it.
I do.
You had to really be cautious about it to protect the ministry, because it was worth protecting. When Petra retired, all I had to worry about, or had to watch out, was for my credibility, and all I can do is do the best I know how. So being able to do secular songs in the past that were a lot more tame than they are necessarily today. It's music. I just enjoy playing it. So yeah, we play secular music. We're all Christian, but we play secular music, 70s, 80s, 90s rock that we enjoy. Now, we are very cautious of the music we choose, because again, we're Christian. We're trying to be careful.
Yeah.
But we are able to, and I have fun doing it. I have fun playing the old stuff. Shoot, I toured with half the bands I do music with now.
Yeah,
so in the Head East days, I toured with all these guys. Styx were good friends of mine. Boston never did tour with them, but being able to do one of those songs was very cool too. So it's fun. It's being able to enjoy music, and it's Christians being able to enjoy music, period.
Yeah. Well, first arena show I ever saw, Tommy Shaw was the opening act. So I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
Tommy Shaw was the opening act?
Yeah. Don't ask who he opened for. I don't know if people will like it. No, he opened for Rush, by the way.
For Rush?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Tommy Shaw, the first time I ever saw him, he opened up for my band in a club. His old band was called MS Funk. And they would open up for us in the clubs. This was just before we went and started touring major. And I said, man, it's a good band. That guitar player is a good little guitar player. Never saw him as a singer, though. I never saw him as a singer. I just always thought he was a really hot guitar player. And when we were out touring with Styx, all of a sudden one day, Tommy's there with JY. And I'm going, Tommy, what are you? Oh, he says, I'm part of Styx now. I said, well, good for you. And so it was I'm glad for him. I was glad for him because he really added a major part to Styx.
What's your interaction like with artists who are either in that genre, but mainly artists that aren't Christians. Because I mean, everybody knows you're a Christian. How do you get along with these guys, and what kind of impact do you have on them?
I don't, man. I'm in my own little world. I'm in my Christian world, and I really I haven't seen Tommy since that last time.
Okay.
For years. I really haven't talked to anyone. Now, when I used to do the Grammys, when I used to go to the Grammys before it got so ridiculous, I just stopped going. but I used to go to the, and I'd see guys there, and I'd say, hey, what's going on? Actually, some of my old mates in A&M Records, I probably run into them more than anybody else, and I'd say I'm with Petra. I says, we know. We represent you guys, and we know who you are. I said, okay, cool.
All right, we're going to end this with a couple of ridiculous questions from the comments section. Someone's asking about a concert. The concert's not happening. I'll just tell you that right now. But someone liked Petra, the band, so much when you were in it that she named her dog Petra. Are you cool with that?
Very cool.
Okay.
It sounds like a great reason for it. It was a compliment to us, so I accept it with a thankful heart.
Okay. And last ridiculous question is a couple people were commenting, what's up with the giant Hershey's bar behind you?
I love it. Oh, hey, listen, I love chocolate. I do. I'm a chocolate fanatic. If you want to know my favorite snack of all times, it's double dip chocolate peanuts. And someone knew that I love, and they sent me that as a birthday present. And my grandkids have wanted to eat that forever. And I said, don't touch that candy bar. So it's up in my trophy case there.
That's awesome. You want to give out your address? Maybe people will send you more.
No.
I did. Okay, didn't think so, but just checking. All right, again, and some people are asking about concerts and stuff, and I'm guessing you just don't know what's going to happen with concerts here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, the one we were supposed to do in 3 days, it was postponed. We've had several dates, but the end of May, beginning of June. But that's if it's going to happen, and we're so sorry that we had to cancel it. We were really looking forward to it, but it will happen. But it'll have to happen when everything has smoothed out and safe.
Yeah, we just don't know yet. So check the website. Check obviously with wherever you bought your tickets. They'll be the quickest to announce any changes and things like that. But that's it. Again, we've been talking to John Schlitt. Let's see, that's the Sikilo Band. This is his website right here, johnwschlitt.com. So go check that out. This is the new album, Go. You can hear a little sample of it.
And Ray, just before we go, you asked me about people. Billy Smiley, also a very important part of my life.
Billy Smiley. There you go. Well,
He's
man,
a good artist.
We love the work that you're doing. Appreciate your time and weird times, but looking forward to you getting back out on the road supporting the new album, Go. And in the meantime, we'll just have to crank it up in our homes because there's really nothing else to do. So. And
I think you to do it. You're going to enjoy it. Please just check it out. If you're worried about it, just go to Schlitt Shop, and it's there. You can listen to the whole record for free, and if you like it, then download it, and you have it instantly.
All right, that's what Schlitt's. Well, I got to be careful when I say this.
Be careful, Schlitt Shop.
That's the website right there. And once again, wherever you're at, share this. You can go grab the replay later on all these channels. It's easiest on YouTube, in my opinion. And share it out there with your friends once we quit here. And come back every day because we're here Monday through Friday on Live Today live at noon Central. And check out the replay if you can't watch us live. But thanks for joining in the conversation. Appreciate all you guys out there being a part of this, and appreciate that man right there, John Schlitt, most of all. Thanks again for watching Live Today Live. We will see you again tomorrow.